Hey, it's Noogie from GuardingTalesGuides.com, and today I'm going to talk about in-game, specifically like what to do when you get there. Now, what I consider in-game is beating the story mode. So, look, let's be real. I think you're a noob until you finish story mode. That is not a condescending thing to say. You haven't got to the breadth of the content. Like, there's still so much more left in the game. I think the game starts when you beat story mode, and that's great. I'm glad you're figuring it out, but that's where it is, right? But when you get out of story mode and you're focused on, okay, what do I do next? There's a lot of different places to go, and some of them are harder than others, and the rewards can be kind of convoluted. So I figured I'd make a video about that to help you along those paths. But so kind of going into it a little bit, I'm painting a picture here. You just beat story mode. You've got some heroes. They're presumably at the highest level. Probably not MLB, but they're getting there. First thing to note is there's things that you should have already been doing, right? You should have been doing Coliseum, Arena, and Co-op consistently. It doesn't really matter how many gems you're getting, just that you're getting some gems. That should have been happening, right? If it didn't, it's okay, no big deal. But honestly, I've been playing this game for 2 years. I play one arena match every 2 weeks, and I don't really participate because I don't really care about it. But I do get 1,500 gems for not doing anything. So you at least want to step your toe in there, get your ass kicked, and then, walk away. Coliseum, you can push a little bit. That's always kind of fun. You're probably using some of your core characters on that. Tank, maybe healer, who knows. Co-op, it's actually just kind of chill, right? You get in there, you go ahead, you get some gems, you do some fighting, AoE mobs, yay, hooray. But either way, you should be doing that consistently. That will never stop. You should always do those. You should always get gems from that. And then that brings us to Evolution Dungeons, which you should have already been doing. I'm sure you've done Evolution Dungeons this far. Well, buckle up, because it doesn't really change. You've probably, depending on what game mode you're going into, if you're going to be raiding, you're going to have a lot of characters, right? Minimal 3 raid teams, which means minimal 12 good characters. And then if you really want to get down to it, 12 characters that work together very well and optimize damage. And if you really want to get really into it, those characters will change consistently per raid because different variables, different bosses, right? So that's a lot of different characters that you need to evolve. So you're going to be in Evolution Dungeon. Like a lot. Now, they did just make a change to Evolution Dungeon, so you get the first 10 runs of the day, you get 3 times, kind of what you're getting, which is awesome. That means if you actually put every little bit of coffee into an Evolution Dungeon, for every login for 9.5 days, you will get your character to 5 stars. That's kind of how it is. That's pretty awesome, actually. So there's that. Item Dungeon, which can be shown here. Item Dungeon is basically where you're going to get, and you may or may not have done this, you obviously want to do it as far as you can go, level-wise, and then that's where you're going to get like your sharpshooters and your golden pocket watches and other little things. And hammers, which you probably don't have a whole lot of right now. And that's kind of important. Also, another game mode that you should have been doing as soon as you had access to was Camazon, which is actually kind of a fun mode anyway. You need to have the right characters for it, of course. Some are better than others. Maya really runs Camazon pretty well. But nonetheless, Camazon's going to get you bottle caps. Bottle caps will get you almost a hero's worth of awakening stones every month. And it will give you a bunch of other stuff. And eventually, because it takes, I think, a little over 1 week's worth of camisong gives you enough to get the whole month's worth of rewards. So the rest of it, you can just blow on hammers, and you're going to need those. Sorry about that. So outside of that, these are the knowns. These are the things that you probably should have already been doing, right? Now going into the new stuff. And Tower is not necessarily new. Tower was there on launch, or at least shortly after it. Tower is a very, very easy little mode that you're probably very over-leveled for right now. Whatever, you can finish it. It just costs stamp. You get some gems, get some stuff. Cool. Not very challenging. Heavenhold Tower, however, which can be accessed kind of down here. Bloop. Right, Heavenhold Tower is a whole different story, right? They actually have some pretty decent rewards in there, and actually some really fun boss fights, like double bosses, stuff like that, for like 500 gems. But there are some that are puzzles, and oh my god, do they suck. Like, some of them are like, oh god, what is it? Like the bunny side story game or whatever, where the bunnies follow you and you can't like double back and hit a bunny, but you have to get 10 androids instead of bunnies. Oh, it's infuriating, right? So some of them are a pain in the butt. Other ones, they're just pretty chill. But the rewards are actually kind of worth it. So do it if you want to, whatever. It's not a stopgap. It's not a requirement. Mirror Rift. All right, this one up here, which I'm sure you've been seeing for a while. Now, there's a lot of misconceptions with Mirror Rift, right? Primarily, you need to do it. And the reason why is because you can get an epic there. And I remember when I started and I was like, ooh, you can get epics from there? Well, clearly that's what I want to do. It's not, though. It's really not. Those epics have a huge cost to them with the option stones. So don't think that's the right way to go. I mean, look, if you've got FP and you're tank and you need to get that shield, go nuts, right? Shields are good for mirror rifts. But other than that, stay away from that for a while. If you're going into PvP, I mean, sure, you can go in there and get a ring. No real reason to MLB it until a little while, but you don't really need to go to Mirror Rift. You just don't. Like, I mean, if you really, really, really want to get an arena early, then sure, start off with Mirror Rift, but you really don't need to. Just saying. A lot of people think that's the first thing to go to, but part of the reason why I'm making this video, it's not. Anyway, Horizon Towers, these bad boys. All right, so Horizon Towers. The reason why I'm kind of putting this towards the end of the list is you're probably not ready for that yet, because you have to go in with only fire type heroes or only water type heroes. It's more like a poor man's raid. And what I mean by that is you need to have the right heroes for the job, and until you actually have 4 semi-built and built characters for each type of tower, then there's no reason thinking about doing it. The rewards aren't super great. There's at the 40th level, which is 400 coffee to get there, there's a legendary hammer, which is actually pretty badass because they're rare. Outside of that, don't care. All my characters have got up to 41 because the hammer's at 40 and the rest of the rewards aren't super enticing. At least not enough to, like spend it on anything else. Maybe someday, just not today. Expedition. Alright, this is the most recent content addition to the game. And while you don't have to worry about these 2 areas, when you first start the game, think of Expedition as the creme de la creme, right? Like it's the highest level. So to raid effectively, you need 3 good teams. It's not much different than Expedition, except you're pretty much going to be using the 2 out of the 3 teams consistently. So you need at least 2 good teams for Expedition to work. It will have your relics, and the relics are really good, but it just takes a lot to get to them. So I'd put Expedition pretty far back on the list. I mean, feel free to jump in the first trial, see how it goes. But I'd actually, do the farm every day, get your stuff built. I don't think you really need to do Expedition to build up your farm, but that's going to be the last line of defense for you, right? So, you're getting your gyms every week with Coliseum Arena Co-op. You're getting your Camazon stuff every week, which is bottle caps, which you're going to be able to use for almost a near infinite amount of hammers. Maybe not so infinite if you're totally now into the end game and you're just starting off. You're going to be hitting Evolution dungeons a lot. Now keep in mind, you can do Coliseum Arena Co-op and Camazon without actually spending any coffee. So your Evolution dungeons are going to be your coffee spend for quite a while, depending on what kind of modes you want to go into. And item dungeon maybe a little bit. And then Heavenhold or Tower or Heavenhold Tower, Mirror Rift, they're going to cost coffee as well. Horizon Towers cost coffee. Orbital Lift does not cost coffee, and you should do it whenever you can, but the main thing about Orbital Lift is don't build to progress this mode. It's hard. There's crazy, it's like very niche. Like Heavenhold Tower is kind of like this. There's some stages where you have to have Akayuki. Or there's at least one. And they've got some niche towers in there. Don't necessarily build those out until you're ready. Orbital Lift, sometimes it requires at a certain gear level, like, I don't know, Lupina for this or whatever. Maybe you don't give a damn about Lupina. Just don't put resources in to get past a game mode that you'll never use those resources again because they're kind of scarce and kind of important for you. But that's going to be your spend or your time usage. Coliseum Co-op Arena every week, Camazon every week. For your bottle caps, which will give you hammers. Evolution Dungeon for your coffee spend. Once you get a little crazy, you can do Tower, Heavenhold Tower, or whatever. Looking for a little bit of adventure. Do Orbital Lift passively, whatever helps. Mirror Rift, if you're going to go into Arena, sure. Coliseum, yes, yeah, that's cool. I don't ever use any mirror items, ever, right? So it's not necessary. Horizon Towers, when you got the teams, feel free to jump in there. At this point, speaking of, let's check that out. One little thing. All right, at this point, Horizon Towers at level 40. They're level 80 monsters, right? We're level 86 now. And this was tuned for like 80 or 72, like level 72, 76, something, I don't know, whatever. But either way, you're over leveled for the content that's in Horizon Towers, so you might be able to just walk right through the vast majority of it. I know there's only like a handful of stages that are really kind of pains in the ass, and that was when the content was relevant, meaning our level was the same level that you're supposed to be going at it. But right now we've over leveled Horizon Towers by a lot. So you may be able to walk through there, get some yellow hammers. That's always good. Which you're going to use on yellow X weapons for a while. An expedition, when you finally get to that stage, try to get some relics, but hopefully, and then I did not mention XP dungeons because you should never really do XP dungeons. No, you just shouldn't. There's other rewards that would give you enough XP. That shouldn't really be a problem. Maybe it is, but you might be able to do the XP dungeons for the gems because there's a decent amount of gems for the first time completions. But yeah, you've got a long way to go before you stop doing evolution dungeons, though. But either way, I hope this helps and it clears up what you do as a beginner. So, good luck. Oh, and if you could subscribe, that'd be really cool. Not necessary, though.